I'm Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. And on today's show, we have Austin Jackson replacements who could potentially fill in at right tackle for the Miami Dolphins. And should the Dolphins sign an offensive lineman in free agency or off of their own practice squad, and who should it be? And the reason why we're having this conversation is because of the news yesterday. Before NFL Week 10 against the Los Angeles Rams, Jackson was placed on IR with that knee injury. So, all right, he's out for a minimum of 4 games. We'll see if he returns from that injury. But it is not going to be a return for Jackson, the former first-round pick and man who signed a 3-year extension this past offseason, because Mike McDaniel said that he is going to have knee surgery and is out for the remainder of the season, but is expected to make a clean return for 2025 training camp when we get things underway next July or August. Crazy to say that out loud. But he is done for the year. So what will Miami do for the rest of the season as they do try to still push forward and make the 2025 NFL playoffs? And I'll say this, I believe the Dolphins will add an offensive lineman to the 53-man roster, whether it be from a free agent pool or from their own practice squad. It will be someone. And when they do add someone to the roster, we will have you covered with a video, so make sure you are subscribed and have those notifications turned on. Let's state the obvious first here and on who's going to be starting at right tackle for the Dolphins this week. It's going to be Kendall Lamm. He started at right tackle for the Dolphins this past week against the Rams and actually filled in pretty nicely, putting up some nice PFF numbers. He did leave the game for 2 snaps with an injury, and then Patrick Paul filled in, but it will be Lamm moving forward. But when you look at what the Miami Dolphins have on this roster right now at offensive line, it's very clear that you have to sign someone. Armstead is always due for an injury potentially. Aaron Brewer's been really good. But you look at the depth there. You have the second-round pick, Patrick Paul, who is now your swing tackle as things currently stand, but he's never played right tackle in his entire career, dating back to his college days at the University of Houston. Lester Cotton and Andrew Meyer are interior offensive linemen. They can't play outside. And Robert Jones might miss this week due to injury, which we'll probably talk about on our video later in the afternoon. 2 videos coming today, so that's why you got to be subscribed. So when you only have 8 offensive linemen on your depth chart, one of them is not 100% healthy, you are going to add someone to this group. And I don't see Patrick Paul being a viable option at right tackle for Miami unless break glass in case of emergency. Why? Well, because he's never done it. We just said it. He has never played the right tackle position in his entire career. And do we really expect him to play that position for the first time in the NFL down the stretch when you have a couple tough teams to go up against in the next 2 or 3 weeks, when we're talking about Max Crosby and the Raiders? We're talking about that pass rush in Green Bay in 2 weeks. I don't see Patrick Paul being an option at right tackle because you might think it's the same position going from left tackle to right tackle. It's not. The footwork's different, and especially when Tua Tagovailoa is a left-handed quarterback, everything gets flipped on the offensive line. It becomes difficult for you to be able to make that switch, so I don't see Patrick Paul being that guy. We're going to talk about 4 NFL free agents that are available in a second. But I do want to make this note. This player right here, Jackson Carman, 2021 second-round pick, not of Miami, but from the Cincinnati Bengals, was signed to the practice squad earlier in the year. He's been on the practice squad this entire season for the Miami Dolphins. He got elevated off of the P squad and was active this past Monday against the Rams. Did not play, but I do think if you're going to talk about the most realistic option to be just signed to the active 53-man roster, it would likely be Carman, who was elevated this past Monday and has been on the practice squad this entire year. I don't want to get your hopes down, if you will, that they're not going to add someone that's a veteran. But I do think Carman, if we get in the next 24, 48 hours a notification that he's signed to the active roster, that probably makes the most sense. But let's talk about the 4 guys that I think could be an option for the Miami Dolphins in NFL free agency. And we'll start with my number 1 guy. That is DJ Humphries, the longtime Arizona Cardinal who is still out there in free agency. And in my opinion, is the best offensive lineman available. Last season was all right for Arizona. You see the PFF grades on screen. Listen, and I do want to state this right now before we get into the other players on our list today too. These guys are all free agents in Week 11 of the NFL season for a reason. These guys are not good. They're not elite at this point in their career, and to sign one and expect them to start right away would just be nonsensical due to the reason that they are still free agents out there. But I do think Humphries is the best one. But the curious question here, if you were to make a play on DJ Humphries, is that in his long career in the NFL, he has played left tackle exclusively. He has never played right tackle in the National Football League outside of his rookie season. Did it once, but then after that first year, it's been left tackle only for the rest of his career. Would he be willing to make the switch back to right tackle and play for the Miami Dolphins? But also, is he signing to be a backup to Kendall Lamm? I don't know if that's the case. Humphries has had a pretty accomplished career in the National Football League, and I don't know if someone of his stature is signed to be a backup. David Bakhtiari is also a free agent out there, but he's not going to be on our list today because I don't think he would sign to be a backup, but I also think he's kind of retired anyway. All right, we're going to get to some more players in just a second, but we do have to give a shout out to our sponsor on today's show. That is Public Rec. Let's be real, guys. Wearing pants sucks. Who decided that stiff, uncomfortable fabric digging into your family jewels was necessary to go out and look put together? Whether you're kicking back with a holiday movie, making your way through leftovers, or watching bowl games with the boys, Daymaker Pants will have you covered. Heck, they'll even keep you looking sharp for that awkward holiday party with your in-laws. Give the gift of comfort to yourself or someone you love this holiday season with Public Rec's Daymaker Pants. And for a limited time, you can get 20% off your entire order with code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off when you use promo code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. And I'm telling you what, they have more than just the Daymaker Pants. The Daymaker Pants are spectacular, but they got shirts like this one, a comfortable long sleeve that I wear in the office, wear at public occasions. I wear it all the time. They got polos, hoodies. They have everything you possibly need. And going back to those Daymaker Pants, I wore it out this weekend to a bar with some friends, and it felt unbelievable. I've worn them at home as well. They truly are comfortable, but they look like perfect, nice pants. Shout out to Daymaker Pants. I love them so much. And like I said, stop suffering in regular pants and give the gift of comfort this holiday season. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off when you use code CHAT20 at checkout. That's 20% off with the code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. After you purchase, they'll ask you whether you heard or where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Say goodbye to pants. Put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you found Public Rec. All right, moving over to our second offensive line target. It will be Donovan Smith, the long-term veteran in the NFL who played his last two seasons for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kansas City Chiefs. And, well, it hasn't been the best past two seasons for the veteran. He was very good for most of his career, but there's a reason why he's a free agent, folks, and he just hasn't been that good, especially in the run game. And he's been a very penalized player as well. Donovan Smith, a well-known name, but like I said, most of these guys are free agents for a reason, and when you specifically look at Donovan Smith, the last 2 years of his career have not been kind, which is why I probably would stay away from Donovan Smith. And another reason why I would stay away is, well, the same reason of DJ Humphries. He's pretty much a left tackle exclusively. He has done a little work at right tackle filling in, but pretty much the same deal as Humphries, where it's left tackle and left tackle only. Let's move over to Charles Leno Jr., the former Chicago Bear and Washington Commander. And this is an interesting one. And we'll start with this again. Also, not a right tackle. There's not many right tackles available. Most of the offensive tackles that are free agents right now that would be worth anything and worth signing are all left tackles that you could maybe try to get to play right tackle for you. But the reason why Leno's interesting to me is because he actually charted out really, really good according to Pro Football Focus last season. And I talked with our Washington Commanders host about Leno and why he's a free agent and why he was released by the Commanders this past year. And he said it was mostly because he was unable to stay on the field, battled injuries a lot, only playing 13 games, couldn't stay healthy, but also said that when Leno goes against an average to below average edge rusher or defensive lineman, he'll be fine. But anytime you go up against a above average pass rusher, he will struggle. But you see the numbers. Only gave up 3 sacks in 13 games and graded it out quite nicely. And he's actually been a favorite of Pro Football Focus for most of his career as well, specifically in the pass game. He has a career 76.8 pass blocking grade, which is very phenomenal when you think about the fact he's been in the league 8+ seasons. To have an average pass block grade of that high in 8 years just shows you that he is good in that retrospect. Sure, is he going to get beat by a good pass rushers here and there? Sure. And is he going to be as good in the run game? No. But he is a good pass protector. And if you did want to add a veteran, it would be nice to have a good pass protector at right tackle because, once again, folks, in case you're just watching for the first time, Tua is a lefty, and it's more important to get that right side protected, just like a left tackle is important for a right-handed quarterback because that is his blind side. All right, we're going to get to one more player here, but name an offensive tackle the Dolphins should sign down in the comments section. We've given you 3 names. We have one more coming your way, but drop a name on who you would want to sign. The last name we're going to talk about on today's show is Cameron Fleming, another veteran. But, folks, we do have some news on Cameron Fleming. This is actually one of the only names on this list that is a swing tackle. He has split his career left tackle, right tackle. So it's not like Leno, Humphries, and Jesus, I'm spacing. Donovan Smith. I don't know why I forgot about Donovan Smith for that. Only playing left tackle. No, Fleming has played both. And his actual last year as a starter, last year he was a backup, but in 2022 he was a starter, and he played about 1,000 snaps that year. 670 of them came at right tackle, and about 290, 300 came at left tackle. So primarily at right tackle in 2022, and you see the numbers. Yeah, he gave up 7 sacks, but PFF graded out pretty nicely, 72.5 on the overall, 74.1 on the pass blocking grade. So Fleming is an interesting player that I would have my eyes on, and like I mentioned, Kendall Lamm is your starter, but you should still add some depth to this depth chart. And I think Fleming might be, out of all of those free agents we mentioned, the most logical choice because he is a swing tackle. He's played right tackle. He's played left tackle. But he's also not been a starter for his entire career, and I think would be more fine with being a backup at this current juncture and just be happy to be on an NFL roster. But I do think someone will be added soon, which is why you need to be subscribed to the channel, because if the Dolphins sign someone and when they sign someone to the active roster, we will have you covered with a video. So hit that sub button, and I'll see you later today with another video on the latest Dolphins injury news.